The Kaiser's U-boats had proven how vulnerable Britain was to such a weapon, but it seems Britain had learned very little from this during the interwar years. Tactics to combat U-boats had changed very little, and new technologies, like an early form of sonar, had yet to take prevalence in the fleet, meaning the main method to detect a U-boat was to spot it on the surface, recharging its batteries, or when using its periscope. Aircraft were seen as ideal platforms for this, but the RAF's Coastal Command was equipped with types wholly inadequate for the job at the start of the war, lacking the range and weaponry, but also having to rely solely on the aircrew's eyes for detection. Meanwhile, the Royal Navy began organizing merchant ships into convoys in order to provide them protection, and also began taking on trawlers from Britain's fishing fleets and arming them to hunt U-boats. Nevertheless, the U-boats began to inflict painful losses on Britain, while efforts to destroy the U-boats at sea were met with mixed success, as were RAF Bomber Command's efforts to destroy the U-boat yards in France and Norway. Churchill would later admit that the U-boats were the only thing that truly scared him during the war. However, the U-boats needed help in locating the convoys, and so the Luftwaffe used long-range Condor patrol aircraft to organize U-boat attacks. Realizing this, Britain began looking at ways of destroying these aircraft. There weren't enough aircraft carriers in the Royal Navy, during the early years at least, to protect every convoy, and so they came up with a novel solution: catapult merchantmen, or CAM ships. These were merchant ships equipped with a catapult to launch a single Hawker Hurricane or Fairey Fulmar fighter to attack the Condors when they were sighted. It was a one-way mission, with there being no way to recover the aircraft, which had to ditch alongside the convoy, with the pilots hoping to be picked up by a passing ship, which made it one of the most dangerous jobs of the war. The urgency to combat the U-boats saw the rapid development of technology, particularly in the field of radar. The U-boats had to ride on the surface to charge the batteries that powered them underwater, and this was carried out under the safety of night. However, radar had been used to combat night bomber raids, and was now being trialed against U-boats. On December 22, 1941, a U-boat was sunk by a Royal Navy plane on the surface under the cover of darkness. From that point on, U-boats could be attacked at any time, anywhere. The situation was made worse for the U-boats by the addition of new, longer-ranged aircraft equipped with radar, which left fewer and fewer safe places for them to hide. At the same time Mussolini's Italy opened the North African campaign, his troops also opened up another front, this time against Greece. Mussolini felt he was playing second fiddle to Hitler in Europe and wanted to establish himself as an equal. He viewed Greece as an easy target and began putting pressure on the country's own fascist-like dictator, Ioannis Metaxas. On August 15, 1940, an Italian submarine sank the Greek warship Elli. Italian troops finally attacked on October 28, 1940, but like in North Africa, they were beaten back despite the odds seemingly being in their favor. The Italian attack pushed Greece closer to Britain, who were desperate for allies after the fall of Western Europe. This, in turn, made Hitler take an interest in Greece, and he had his general staff start drawing up plans for his own troops to once again come to the aid of the Italians.